video, and she talked about transparency, but she also talked about how it is imperative that we keep up the pressure. We gonna make it so hot on folks who don't want to do the right thing for the people. I don't know about you, but I'm still feeling a little something, something, something. I don't know about you, but I'm still feeling the burn. Can I get an amen? Can I get an amen? Woo! Sound like it hot, baby. We like it hot. Speaking of hot, it is my, bring the heat, baby. Yes, bring the heat. Speaking of hot, it gives me immense pleasure to bring up our revolution's chairman, Larry Cohen, the former president of the C.W.A. I guess he jumped the gun because he said he don't need no introduction. But this is
just wanted more love.
Wanting more love. He is a warrior like no other. He tells it like it is, TIS, at all times. And it doesn't matter. He's about what's right, when it's right, what is just, what is good, and what is right. And we could not have a better leader of our revolution. Give it up for Larry Cohen.
Hey. Thanks, Tina. Great to follow these three amazing sisters. Are they amazing? Rosa DeLauro led this fight. I just broke the podium. That's okay. Rosa led this in the Congress every single minute for 6 years. Don't underestimate. Part of this fight, she really jump up and down, jump up and down, jump up and down. We need. I didn't break anything on that one. We need to have fun. We need to celebrate. We need to have moments like this in a dark time when we can understand, how did we do this? People did amazing work on this. Probably every person here. And big shout outs to my sisters and beloved union CWA. And big shout outs to the nurses that are here, and their leader, Roseanne. You guys didn't have to, yes, give it up for Roseanne. Unions are mostly transactional. Unions mostly work on what we have to do. We're on defense, just like immigrants are. They're going to come for us in this Congress and in that White House. But we're ready, because we know how to resist. We know how to stand up and fight back, and we're ready. And we're ready not just to do defense. There's plenty of states and cities in this country where we can be on offense, but we will be on defense. And we will defend every immigrant. And we will defend against every hate crime. But we will also fight forward. You're going to hear from other amazing leaders in labor like Tafari Gabbray, in the Congress like Tulsi Gabbard, and in the Senate like who? That's right. And there's a long list of amazing people. An incredible turnout here from the ATU, over 100 people. Give it up for the brothers and sisters in the ATU. They could just be fighting for transit, but no, they see the connections about how these rotten-ass trade deals are about privatizing. And so instead of people with a decent wage, they end up with a $10 an hour wage, and then they're not organized, and that goes on and on and on. And so we learned from this fight that we fight inside and outside. And even in this Democratic Party, and even with a president that I actually love, we had to say at the Democratic Convention, anybody know what this sign is? Yeah, many of us carried these signs. My brother, Clem Bannon from Chicago, printed these signs. Don't worry, Clem, too late to arrest you. Brought 2,000 of these signs. We had an anti-TPP forum. People took them inside, and we held these signs for 3 days, proudly printed on both sides. And that message is also our message, loud and clear, that we will stand up and fight, even when it's the Democratic Party and a beloved president, because we have no choice. We're working class people, whether we're nurses or bus drivers, communication workers, 60 flight attendants from our union are here today. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what job we do. It doesn't matter what city we live in. It doesn't matter. It does matter our color, and Black Lives Matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, but it does matter if we're Standing Rock Sioux. We stand with Standing Rock Sioux against the Dakota Pipeline. But together, even if we don't agree on every single thing, we know we're working class people. And we know from this fight that every victory brings another, even in a dark time. And it's a combination of this resistance and offense, not just resistance, that we keep painting that picture. Nurses, Medicare for all, single payer. We're not giving up on that. We may not be able to win that fight in this Congress, but we'll find the state house that we can win that fight in, whether it's California or whether it's New York or whether it's any of the states in between. It's resistance where we act as
a win. Yeah, baby. Thank you, Larry, so much for that. Now, you all heard him when he said injury to one is injury to all. So if you come for one of us, you better come for all of us. Come on, somebody. I'm feeling this thing this afternoon. Now I want to bring up the Vice President of the AFL-CIO, Vice President V.A.A. He's an immigrant from Ethiopia. He has been an advocate for workers and immigrants his entire adult life. He started in the Laborers Union and got elected to a leadership position in the Orange County Labor Federation and the California Labor Federation. He was elected to be the AFL-CIO's Executive Vice President in 2013 and is a passionate leader for all workers, civil rights, and for the rights of people in vulnerable communities. I want you to give it up to Vice President V.A.A.
Clear. The TPP was stopped because of you, and Donald Trump had nothing to do with it. We, working together, make the TPP toxic for politicians. Then opportunistic politicians try to jump on the bandwagon and they say, I was there too. I have searched all over and I could not find a record of single phone call Donald Trump made to congressional members to defeat fast track. You made millions of calls to kill TPP. So in this dark day since last Tuesday, today is our day to be happy and no one is going to take away that from us. Congratulations, brothers and sisters. Now, let's not stop here. We know the formula. We know how to fight back because we did it on TPP. For the first time in my life, the entire labor movement united against the TPP. The entire environmental movement united against the TPP. The entire LGBT gay lesbian community. I'm an immigrant, so you gotta listen closely. Stood up against the TPP. The student movement stood up against the TPP. Basically, everybody, that coalition which elected President Obama was opposed to the TPP and defeated the TPP. We are not against trade. They try to say the labor movement is against trade. We're not against trade, but we'll oppose any trade agreement that is written in closed doors by corporate lobbyists without workers or environmentalists being at the table. We will oppose it now, we'll oppose it tomorrow, we'll oppose it anytime that happens. But there is a better way forward. We can have trade agreements that include all of you. That include all of you and lift up every worker around the globe. They can't keep on going, pitting workers in the United States against workers in other countries and driving our wages here and driving wages all over the place. We can do it better. Just imagine this. I said this last time we had a rally here. Trade agreements are choices. When you walk into an elevator, you get a choice. Either you press a button up or down. Unfortunately, from NAFTA to CAFTA to SHAFTA to everything else, our government has been pushing the button down on us, and now we said enough is enough. 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 So, brothers and sisters, I'm an organizer. And since I have you here, I can't just quit here. When we're happy here, there are millions of Americans who are being terrorized. If you have an accent like mine, and you have a skin tone like mine, these days are scary days. So I'm gonna ask you this. With every fervor that you fought TPP, would you promise to stand up to immigrants when they come to us? Would you fight back against the stop and frisk which terrorizes black people in this country? Can I count on you to join us and fight back against police killings of my people in every street? Thank you so much for what you did. Thank you so much for what you're doing. And thank you so much for what you will do. I believe in America. I believe in you. Thank you.
Yeah, baby. Everywhere. And we're going to stand against hate, whether it's folks outside the family or inside the family, because racism and sexism and discrimination cannot be tolerated on our watch. It's not a 21st century thing. We just not going to do it. And I say that in all seriousness because I'm glad that Vice President Gabriel got down with that. You see, my father is a Muslim. And so we understand that in our lives we have people close and near and dear to us, that people are freaking out right now because of what if we were not awake then, we are shown up awake now. And so, yeah, I see a sign over there that says love trumps hate, and it does, and we better make sure that we do that, because sisters and brothers, I have seen some folks on our side do some hateful things too. And so if we're going to just talk about the other side, we better self-check our side as well. Oh my God. Sisters and brothers, I'm a God-fearing woman. I call on Black Jesus often. God knows during this campaign I called on Black Jesus many times. But I just got to tell you something, that it brings me immense joy to introduce my sister, Representative Tulsi Gabbard. Talking about a sister who is a combat veteran. Can I get an amen? A sister that knows how to pack a pistol. Can I get an amen? Who knows how to use her gifts, her skills, and her abilities to lift this country, and who understands the seriousness of making sure that we don't have folks making arbitrary decisions about war because there's flesh and blood tied to that. She stood up. She continues to stand. She just won re-election, and oh my God, can you guys give a Bernie Sanders warm, feeling the burn welcome for Representative Tulsi
Aloha. Let's get some aloha here on this beautiful day. It is wonderful to be here with you. I'm amongst family, right? We are reunited in victory, in joy, in respect, in resilience, and in love. It's a beautiful day. We don't have many of those beautiful days here in Washington. So thank you all for coming and bringing your hearts to celebrate this victory. So many people, as they look at Washington, feel as though Washington is out of touch, that Washington does not feel the pain of their everyday challenges, that Washington does not hear their plight. And unfortunately, yes, we do. We're here. This is why it's so important for us to recognize this moment, because we don't have very many of them, unfortunately, but that is going to change, because you have shown, we have shown the power of the people and what is possible in killing this destructive trade deal. Stopping the TPP is an important win. It brought people from the east to the west, the north to the south, from Hawaii to Maine, and from everywhere else, coming together with one united goal, a recognition and a love for our people and for our planet, and care and passion and commitment for a better and brighter future. We stood together, bringing voice before people, that put money before our future. By showing the power of our speak up, take action. We have the ability to make a difference. Positive change. That must be our goal going forward. We must be mission focused on this goal, and we must continue to stand together united, putting the people first, putting our working families first, putting our environment first, putting our future first. This is a big victory. We know that this will not be the last destructive trade deal that is proposed. So as we celebrate this moment, let us not be complacent. We must hold leaders here at our nation's capital accountable, making sure that the people's voice continues to be heard as we continue this worthy fight. I am privileged and proud to stand shoulder to
that you have to put some sweat equity in on a regular basis. I gotta bring up one of our brothers in the struggle, Oscar Owens. He is the Secretary Treasurer of the Amalgamated Transit Union. We're the Transit Union in the house. Oscar started out his career in the Amalgamated Transit Union in 1966 as an operator for AC Transit in Oakland, California. Our Secretary Treasurer is a great advocate for working rights and building the labor movement. Can we give an ATU welcome to Secretary Treasurer Owens?
It's kind of hard when you have to follow great speakers that you have just heard. But I am going to try to fulfill that duty that I have been selected to do. First of all, let me add my voice and the ATU to those who say thank you for all of your hard work in stopping the TPP. It was organizing around the world that brought this victory against a bad job killing trade agreement. It was our organizing of people that fight for their own best interests that made the politicians finally listen. The people united. The people united will never be defeated. We have all heard the slogan, an injury to one is an injury to all. All of our lives are at risk of being dismantled. Don't you forget that. We have fought for civil rights so that everyone is treated equally and fairly. We have fought for a fair immigration system that respects, not tear families apart. We have fought to protect the woman's right to choose. We have fought to build the unions which brought us the 8-hour day, the weekends, pensions, health care, collective bargaining protections. We have fought for universal health care. Understanding it is a right, not a privilege. We have fought discrimination on all fronts, whether it was based on sex, religion, race, sexual orientation, or ethnicity. We have fought to protect our planet for ourselves, our children, and for the future generations. We have fought to get big money out of politics. We have fought for global warming and fracking. We have stood strong and will continue to stand with the Rock Sioux in their fight to stop the Dakota Access Pipeline. And we will continue to fight that. We have fought income inequality to have the millionaires and billionaires pay their fair share of taxes. All of these are threatened with undoing in a Trump administration. Remember that, brothers and sisters. Take heed to what I'm saying to you. All of these fights pale in comparison to the fight that lies ahead of us. Now more than ever, we all have to stick together. Whether foreign born or native born, whether Muslim, Christian, or Jew, whether black, white, or brown, whether gay or straight, whether blue collar or white collar, whether man or woman, whether skilled or unskilled, whether college educated or not. And the list goes on, brothers and sisters, of what we are facing in the future. We cannot allow them to divide us, because that's what Trump and the bosses are dependent on. When they attempt to divide us, if we stay together, we will win. When we the people are united, we always win. The times ahead of us will be the roughest we have seen in our lifetime. We must double our effort to educate, motivate, energize, and organize. We must fight the right that fits the Democratic Party. At the ATU, we are going to need everyone here to join us in our fight for public transit, which is slated for termination by Donald Trump and the Republican Party. In unity, brothers and sisters, there is strength. And if we live by the credo that an injury to all is an injury to one is an injury to all. And let us support one another. And brothers and sisters, if we stick together, we will win. Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. The dream lives on. The dream lives on. And the dream shall never die. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you, Mr. Owens. Give him another round of applause. Secretary Treasurer, I bring up another sister in the struggle, Sister Liz Powell, who's the Secretary Treasurer of the American Postal Workers Union. Have you hugged a postal worker today? She is committed to the struggle to justice, dignity, and respect. Show her some love.
Hey! There's a very important gentleman that's standing at the foot of these steps. I know protocol and I know it very well. But there's one thing that I must say. On behalf of the 220,000 postal workers representing the American Postal Workers Union, we are proud to be here with you this afternoon. We are proud to be in the struggle. We are proud to have been part of that Stop No TPP, but let me just warn you, make sure No TPP doesn't come back in some other form that with a different name that we may not be aware of. So as long as we collectively work together, stand together, fight together, and do what's necessary together, we can do any doggone thing we want to do. APWU is proud to have been one of the unions in the early on that supported Senator Bernie Sanders for president. We believed in him, and when they tell me that he went out and energized those young people, which I am one of, I just love it. So without further ado, sisters and brothers, he has a busy schedule. God bless you. Keep up the fight. Stand together. Stand strong, and we will win this fight.
See, the sisters get the memo. You know, the brothers don't get the memo, but the sisters got the memo. You know? Oh my God. I'm feeling the burn. You feeling it? But I gotta say to you, I gotta bring up our executive director. Well, she up here already. I'm here. Let me tell you something. This is a fierce woman, and the nurses are the baddest in the land.
We're the baddest in the land. We're the baddest. Nurses are the
baddest in the land. So without further ado, I bring up the bad Mama Jamma herself, the leader of the United Nurses. Or National. I keep changing the name. Love you too.
It's
so good to be here with all of you. I just have to say thank you, labor movement, for turning out so strongly here. It's so good to be all together, right? Thank you. Thank you all the political groups that are out here. And so, you know, I know you're all here. Gosh, look at all of this. I mean, and the nurses, obviously. Yeah. The quiet ones. So I've been on the road for about 1.5 years, along with Tulsi and Nina and the nurses, fighting for, doesn't matter what, who at this point, what matters is what. And we did defeat the TPP, right? But we also raised the hopes of America. And if there's one man who's leading millions of people, and I don't care if you're a Clinton supporter now, or a Trump supporter, or we're a Bernie supporter, we're a movement, right? We're a movement, and we're going to change this country. It isn't about who's in the White House, it's about who's in the streets. Right? So, our leader, our fierce leader, who I love, I have to say this, I have had the pleasure of being around Bernie Sanders, well, for a long time, actually, and he's never changed. I mean, he stood by himself in the Senate forever. And he stood strong for us. And when he went out on the road and we started our campaign, he didn't know, we didn't know, but we all were there, that there was such a deep, deep, deep longing for his message. He did a beautiful job. I love this man. I respect this man. The nurses are 1,000% behind Bernie Sanders. Just know that. So without further ado, I want you to say, when I say Bernie, you say Sanders. Bernie!
A whole lot of great speakers and people who have been active in the progressive movement for their whole lives. So I don't know how much I can add to what they said, but let me just say a few things. Number one, please do not forget, Donald Trump goes into the White House having lost the popular vote by 2 million votes. Number two, on every important issue facing the American people, whether it is raising the minimum wage to a living wage, whether it is pay equity for women, whether it is rebuilding our crumbling infrastructure and creating millions of good-paying jobs, whether it is making public colleges and universities tuition free, whether it is demanding that billionaires like Donald Trump and his friends start paying their fair share of taxes, whether it is transforming our energy system away from fossil fuel to energy efficiency and sustainable energy, whether it is joining the rest of the industrialized world and guaranteeing health care to every man, woman, and child as a right, whether it is guaranteeing 12 weeks of paid family and medical leave, on all of those issues, succeeded. We have taken on corporate America. We have taken on the National Association of Manufacturers. We have taken on the pharmaceutical industry. We have defeated the Trans-Pacific Partnership. Those are no things. But now, obviously, we have our work cut out for us. So let me just say a few things about where I perceive we are today. Donald Trump won the election for a number of reasons. But one of the reasons that he won is, in my view, a failure of the Democratic Party that must be rectified. And that is why I am supporting Keith Ellison for the next chair. The Democratic Party has got to recognize, and I'm now not here to blame anybody, not to criticize anybody, but facts are facts. When you lose the White House to the least popular candidate in the history of America, when you lose the Senate, when you lose the House, and when 2/3 of governors in this country are Republicans, it is time for a new direction for the Democratic Party. It is time. No, that's not Bertie. No. It really is not. No, I mean this very sincerely. I appreciate your love, and it is mutual. It is mutual. I love you all. And we are motivated by love, unlike some who are motivated by hatred. But brothers and sisters, if there's any message I have today, it is not Bernie. It is all of us together. Point number one. If we are going to go forward successfully, the Democratic Party has got to recognize some very important realities that Donald Trump, in fact, did recognize. And that is, yes, we are better off today economically than we were 8 years ago. We made a lot of progress in a lot of areas. But, there are millions of people today, working class people, middle class people, low income people who are living in despair. And we have got to recognize that reality. I want you to think for a moment. Think about a woman in New York City earning fairly good income, $50,000 a year. She's paying $15,000 for child care. She can't afford it. Talk about the worker in Vermont who's not working one job. He's working 2 or 3 jobs to cobble together the income he needs in order to take care of his family. Think about the person who went into debt to go to college, has a degree, and is now making $12 an hour, $60,000 in debt. Think about half of the older workers in America, 55, 60, 65 years of age, who are going into retirement, who have zero money in the bank as they head into retirement. Talk about the millions of workers who are trying to get by on $9, $10, $11 an hour. Talk about the senior citizens and the disabled veterans who are trying to get by on $11,000 or $12,000 a year. Talk about the elderly people who are cutting their pills in half because they cannot afford the outrageous prices that the pharmaceutical industry is charging us. Talk about and think about millions of people who are living in despair, who are turning to alcohol, drugs, and suicide as a solution to where they are today. There is a lot of pain in America. Capitol Hill doesn't understand it. We do. And we are going to reach out to those brothers and sisters and work with them to transform this country. I have not the slightest doubt that millions of people voted for Donald Trump despite their understanding that he is a racist and a sexist. But they voted for him because they believed that he was going to stand up to the establishment. Well, the truth is, as all of you know, Donald Trump is not going to stand up to the establishment. We are going to stand up to the establishment. We are going to take on Wall Street and their greed and their illegal behavior. Thank you, Occupy Wall Street. We are going to take on the insurance companies and the drug companies and fight for a Medicare for all single-payer program. We are going to take on corporate America and fight for trade policies that work for working people in this country, not just the CEOs of large corporations. There is an area that we will not compromise one iota. We will not compromise on the issues of racism, on sexism, on xenophobia and Islamophobia. You know, everybody here knows, in a democracy, we disagree with our neighbors, we disagree with our wives and our husbands. That's America. Okay, that's good. We can disagree on public policy. But this country, as all of you know, for hundreds of years, we have fought, and so many brave people have died in the struggle, or been beaten, or went to jail, to fight against the horrific policies that were put in place against our Native American brothers and sisters, against our African American brothers and sisters, against the Latino brothers and sisters. 100 years ago today, women did not have the right to vote, could not get the education or the jobs that they wanted, but millions of women and their male allies stood up and demanded fundamental change. Women will not be second-class citizens in this country. And we all know the struggle that the LGBT community struggled for to make certain that all people in this country have the right to marry whomever they want, regardless of gender. We have struggled to move forward and have made real success in making this country a less discriminatory society. We all know too much racism and sexism exists, but we should be proud of the progress we have made. Donald Trump, we are not going back. And there is another issue that cannot be compromised because the future of the planet depends upon it. Donald Trump thinks that climate change is a hoax. Donald Trump is dangerously wrong on that vitally important issue. Donald Trump has got to start listening to the scientific community and not just the fossil fuel industry. Brothers and sisters, there is a lot of anguish across the land, and a lot of pain, and a lot of fear. But as previous speakers have told you, and what I believe, if you look at history, the lesson that you learn is that when ordinary people stand up by the millions, when they don't let demagogues divide us up by race or by our sexual orientation, whether we're men or women, whether we're born in this country or come from abroad, when we stand together and keep our eyes on the prize, when we focus on economic justice, when we focus on social justice, racial justice, environmental justice, when we stand together, Donald Trump and nobody is going to stop us. Let's go forward together. Thank you all.